What do you do if you have low T or you just want to increase your testosterone? Let's find out. Hello and welcome to another edition of the Ask Dr. Pickel show. So today we're going to talk about how to boost testosterone. Many people suffer from this issue. I actually have quite a few, in fact, fairly newer patients that come in with this issue. And most of them have already been to their primary care physician or a clinic that specializes in men's health and getting testosterone up. And, some of these patients are injecting testosterone, taking testosterone, or they're on a testosterone pump, or it feeds into their body all through the day. And so, what is this the real problem? Are we really addressing the cause with this? And also, just if you have low testosterone, are the ways to get it up without having to take testosterone? Because taking testosterone, especially synthetic testosterone, is not a good thing. And anytime you take a hormone, after a while your body adapts to that hormone. So then you need more, and it keeps going up and up until you finally hit a maximum. And then that can even create more problems. So let's look at some things that could possibly fit into this and possibly some options for you if you have these types of issues. All right. So when we look at low testosterone, how do you know you have low testosterone? Well, a lot of times you become more emotional. Many of these patients that come in are telling me, my emotions are all over the place. That's not typical for me. I had a patient the other day who came in and he told me, him and his wife were there and they were like, hey, he can be watching a movie and he'll just start breaking down and crying. Just not typical for him. Also, lower drive and motivation. So the frontal lobes of your brain, the executive area of the brain in men, what gives you drive and motivation to kind of jump out of bed and say, hey, I'm going to get through this day and I am happy and ready? Testosterone. You need it to drive the frontal lobes of your brain. Very important. And then what will happen too is as your testosterone drops, what's usually happening is maybe it's just dropping or sometimes it's turning into estrogens. And a lot of times, which we'll talk about in a minute, blood sugar issues can fit into that. But as it does that, you'll start to gain weight. Now, if it's weight that's usually in men, usually it'll be belly, bigger belly. But when you start to turn testosterone into estrogen, you'll notice you get more weight in your flank and your hips, areas that you shouldn't. Also, if this is occurring, this weight gain can even turn up into the chest if it's estrogens, and then we get the man boobs, I guess you could call them. All right, and then another thing too you'll notice is, hey, I'm losing strength. My muscle mass is dropping. I'm not as strong as I used to be. Yeah, some people say, oh, that's just normal. You're getting older. Well, is it? All right. And then the other thing that can occur, and this is the most common complaint that you'll see, especially if you watch TV commercials, is low libido. Yeah, your testosterone drops, your libido, your sex drive just drops out completely. And also, this can be a factor with ED, erectile dysfunction, but it's not the main factor. So, and that's the way this is usually advertised is, hey, you have ED, you need to increase your testosterone. That's not always true. It can be a factor, but it's not always the factor. In fact, it's usually not the factor. And then what'll happen? You will hear about osteoporosis, osteopenia, loss of bone density. You hear about that in women, but you don't know, it doesn't get talked about or you don't hear about as much with men. Well, what happens is in women, they need estrogens and progesterone to help with their bone density. Now in men, it's testosterone. When testosterone drops, bone density can drop. Bones can get weaker. You can suffer fractures of bones more easily than you should. And then also we can get increased fatigue. So guys feel tired more often, tired easily. Come home from work and you just want to lay down. And then when it comes to bedtime, you just go to sleep and then you don't get up and you feel tired again. Yeah. And then what happens too, you go to bed to go to sleep, you're tired, but then you can't fall asleep or you're waking up through the night. This can be another potential factor with low testosterone is insomnia. Now, another thing I didn't put on here too is increased heart issues. Men need testosterone to maintain the heart muscle, so very important. All right, so here's one cause that potentially, and this is the one that most probably doctors will point out or talk about, and that's, hey, the testes themselves are not functioning. They're not making enough testosterone. This could be a factor. Now, I would say it's not the most common factor, but tends to be the only thing looked at. So if you go into your doctor and he just tests your testosterone level and says it's low, first of all, they're not looking at the whole picture. So we're missing a big chunk here. So you could correlate that and say, hey, your testosterone's low. Testes aren't making enough. Well, but why? And is there something else involved? Because if it is just the testes alone, then you must have had some trauma, which sounds painful, or you have had maybe like chemotherapy, radiation therapy because of cancer, or you've had longer term diabetes and it's destroyed a lot of nerves. There's usually more direct effects, and also medications. There's many medications that could do this too, but this really isn't the more common effect. And just to say, hey, this is low, here's your testosterone. Yeah, that's not really looking at the whole picture and saying why, what occurred here. Now, if you say, hey, yeah, I had this happen, hence I have this, yeah, that could be it. But if it's like, hey, this happened, I have no idea why it's low, yeah. So let's look at some other possibilities here. So the way the testes work is the brain tells them what to do. The brain says, hey, we need more or we need less. The brain is in control, especially an area in the brain that's hard to see right here called the hypothalamus. It's actually just kind of right in there, if you can see my green there. So here's the thing is there's a feedback loop, a communication circuit. The brain speaks to the testes and then you get feedback. Hey, guys, are we low? Are we high? Do we need more? Do we need less? And make more, make less. So all of this is done. So when your doctor checks your hormones, he shouldn't just be checking, he or she should not just be checking your testosterone, your free testosterone, maybe bioactive testosterone, but should also be checking this feedback loop. So they would run a test called FSH and LH. And these are the pituitary gland in our brain. The hypothalamus is the boss. It says, hey, pituitary gland, make more of this and send it down to communicate with the testes. So these two hormones get sent. Now, the thing is if these are low, then we know that communication loop is not working. And then we start to get this problem here. So if that's not working, then we have what's called secondary hypogonadism. You don't need to know that, but that means, hey, the brain is not communicating there. So then it's finding out why. Why are we not getting communication? The biggest possibility here is what are called inflammatory cytokines, inflammation. Inflammation will disrupt this communication loop. That is the most common cause. Yeah, maybe you have something wrong with the brain, but that's a lot more rare. I think you would have definitely some more symptoms. So we disrupt that feedback loop. Now we have a problem. And this is the issue that's rarely checked because the fix doesn't require a quick fix. Like, hey, let's just put some testosterone in you. No, then a doctor actually has to try to figure out why is this feedback loop not working and then try to fix that. There is no typically quick fix for that. All right. So here are the things. Basically, when you have this type of issue, number one, the first thing that should be done is to find out if there is inflammation. And there's markers that can be run for this on your blood that can be tested to find out if you have inflammation in your body, like a CRP marker, an ESR marker, a glycane marker. Actually, there's quite a few others. So it's finding out. And then if you do have something causing inflammation in your body, fix the cause, get rid of it, deal with that thing that's caused, or things that are causing inflammation. The next thing you've got to do is look at your diet. So biggest factor with low testosterone, eating processed foods, especially processed carbs. When you eat processed carbs, you're getting blood sugar swings. You're getting increased inflammation in your body. And that causes cortisol to go up too. And cortisol has a negative effect on testosterone. So we don't want that to occur. Now, the other side of this is some guys will say, hey, I'm trying to build muscle. I need to eat a bunch of protein and I need to eat low carb. No, don't do that either. You increase protein, you're actually going to inhibit testosterone. In fact, in the studies they showed where people did these carnivore diets, these Atkins diets to try to build muscle, pre-workout, their testosterone was already lowered by it. During workout and post-workout, it really took a drop. Yeah, so this is a problem. And also, if you increase cortisol due to this, you're going to decrease growth hormone too. So, diet, yeah, you need protein, good amount of protein, but carbs too, and non-processed carbs. That's really the big problem. The raw are the thing. Vegetables, great. Fruits can help too. All right. And then we get to cholesterol. What? He said, increase cholesterol. What? That kind of goes against what you hear every day. So here's the thing. Cholesterol is the mother hormone of testosterone. Cholesterol is the mother hormone of all your hormones. So we have to have cholesterol. Now, many times in patients, I will see that their cholesterol is too low, actually. Doctors rarely say anything about this. Cardiologists rarely. In fact, sometimes I'll have patients come in and they'll tell me, they'll say, oh, my doctor said the lower the better on cholesterol. That is such a falsity. I won't go on my soapbox about this. In fact, I've got another video I'd like you to watch on cholesterol and the truth about that when you get a chance after this video. The thing is we want cholesterol. We don't want the small particle LDLs. That's what you have to look for. We need enough cholesterol. And so if you're taking a statin drug, this can lower your cholesterol many times too low. And if your cholesterol drops below a 150, there's a big potential that you may not have enough to make testosterone. So this is another major factor. Another thing you've got to do, and some people hate it. Some people just, they say, hey, I worked all day. Last thing I want to do is go home and exercise. Well, the thing is work, exercise not the same. Even physiologically, we know there's a difference there. The thing is, though, is there's types of exercise. If you say, hey, I'm going to go out and bike or run for mile after mile after mile, actually, that has more of a breaking down effect on your muscles, and actually that can hinder testosterone production. People do not want to hear that. I'll probably get some hate mail over that. No, it's not good at all. So no long distance stuff. With this kind of a problem, you need more anaerobic type exercise. So weightlifting, high intensity interval training. High intensity interval training sounds hard. No, actually you can just do it with walking. You just speed up and slow down at intervals. I've got another video on that I want you to watch too, and I think you'll really enjoy it because it is easy. But exercise, very important. All right. And really this kind of fits into it all too. Blood sugar issues. Many people think, oh, I don't have diabetes. I don't have a blood sugar issue. Well, number one, you don't have to have diabetes to have a blood sugar issue. You can have insulin resistance. Do you ever crave sweets after meals? Do you ever feel tired after meals? Yeah, you're probably insulin resistant. Those are symptoms of pre-diabetes. You don't want those. Now, if you're overweight, if your triglycerides are high, yeah. If your uric acid is high, yeah, you probably have some pre-diabetes, or you're diabetic, or maybe you have low blood sugar issues, or maybe your blood sugar issues go up and down and it's a roller coaster. If you go too long without eating, you feel hangry, you lose energy, you get shaky, you get headachy, but then when you eat, your blood sugar spikes and then you get the high blood sugar symptoms. So some people have any of those scenarios, but if you have blood sugar that's out of control, this increases an enzyme called aromatase. I didn't write that on there, but this aromatase enzyme starts to turn your testosterone into estrogen. You do not want this. This is the factor that goes into gaining weight in the wrong places, getting man boobs, starting to get more emotional. You're converting your testosterone into estrogen. Not good. So blood sugar issue, very, very, very big key. Another thing, stress. You've got to decrease stress. And it's like, hey, how can you do that with certain things? Well, you may have to find things to offset stress, like exercise, like some other activity that decreases stress or its effects. Maybe you have a very high stressful job. Well, maybe the rest of the day, and you need to take a point out of your day to find a way to de-stress, to decrease that, because stress has all kinds of negative effects on your health, whether it be physical stress, emotional stress, or chemical stress. When we think of chemical stress, foods, alcohol, different things that you put into your body that are stressing your system. So any of those things can increase stress. Stress causes cortisol to rise. Cortisol inhibits testosterone production. So you're making yourself worse. All right. And then this one, supplements. Yes, there are supplements that are needed to not only manufacture this. Now, can some of this come from diet? Yeah. But most people are having these types of problems usually have some gut inflammation or something's going on diet-wise that's affecting them. So we're usually getting either deficiency from not absorbing or deficiency from not intaking the right foods. So sometimes supplements play a part to get you from point A to point B, especially if you're in a hole, testosterone's really low and you need to climb out of that hole. You can't do it alone a lot of times with diet or just thinking about it. All right, so what can we do? So a few things here. Zinc, very, very important. A lot of guys are very low in zinc, and zinc does a lot of things in the body. Watch our video on zinc. It'll tell you more, but zinc goes into testosterone production. Pretty important. B vitamins. In fact, all the B vitamins. So I think most guys should probably be on a B complex. Always talk to your doctor first, but something that contains all the B vitamins. A lot of those B vitamins, B2, B5, B6, B12, a lot of these tie into testosterone productions. Many studies showing low B vitamins, low testosterone. Boron. Now, boron's another interesting one. Boron's been shown actually to affect signaling in the brain to increase testosterone. And boron is pretty neat stuff. It's a trace mineral, so don't overlook it. Selenium. Selenium's another mineral there, and many people are low on it. Selenium helps convert one hormone to another. There are studies showing, hey, if you're low in selenium, you may have low testosterone, or selenium has helped increase it. You don't need much of it, though. We also have a video to watch on selenium, so watch that if you get a chance. And then we get to an herb. Now, this one's pretty well known if you are in kind of A lot of people who are weightlifters, things like that, bodybuilders, yeah, Tribulus terrestris. This is an herb, a botanical that actually can also, or studies have shown, it can help to increase production of testosterone and some different mechanisms that it does it. Another herb or botanical, Eurycoma longifolia. Now you'll see this one in a lot of these bodybuilding supplements too. It's sometimes called Tonkat Ali or Long Jack, and they're all really the same thing. These also have been shown to increase testosterone production. And then another one, Pygeum africanum, another herb botanical that's been shown to increase testosterone production. Now, some of these botanicals also increase sperm manufacturing too in the testes. So if you're not wanting to get someone pregnant, then you may want to be cautious there too. But definitely using these types of methods can really be helpful in raising it. Now, the different things that are in there, these different supplements, not only affect the way the testes make testosterone, but they also help with that signaling from the brain to the testes. But again, in order for a lot of those things to work, you got to put the fire out in the house. If you have an inflammatory issue, you've got to deal with that first. There's kind of a prioritization of things. If you feel lousy and you've got a chronic health issue, you can't just go out there and start exercising. So there is an order to things. Always check with your doctor to make sure exercise is safe. Always check with your doctor before taking any type of these supplements. The thing is there is a way to do this and a way to rectify this problem without injecting, taking, or pumping testosterone, synthetic testosterone into your system, which has all kinds of negative effects and ramifications over time and is not a long-term solution. So, all right, well, hopefully everybody got some great information out of this, and I will see you on the next video. God bless. See you next time.